Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter at the workbench. So I promised you that I would show you how to sharpen a scrub plane blade, which is no different than a well cambered plane blade of any kind. So I was working on my number two, I keep saying number two, my 2-inch blade for my number 4 and 5 as a scrub plane blade. And I had said to you that I was going to make a chip breaker to match the camber. It's not perfect, but it's close. Close enough to experiment. So this blade is actually already sharp. I just feel a little bit of a burr on the back of that. I'll work on that some more, but basically, this is already sharp, all right? But I'm going to show you the process. You grind your bevel, your primary bevel, to the shape that you want. Then you go to your medium stone, which could be like 1,000 grit. And then once you're sharp there, you go to your superfine. Now, I will show you the process that I use. There are 3 ways that you can hone this bevel. So, the most precise is to find the bevel, hold the blade in square, okay? Find the bevel, then starting at the right-hand corner or left, you hone doing a X pattern on your stone. Then you come up with the left and you go to your right. And right to your left, left to your right, right to your left, okay? And then you'll get your burr on the back. Another way to do it is to hold it in one hand, find your bevel, and just sweep it through. And you'll get your bevel. And lastly, you could find your bevel, lift slightly, and do a circular motion, working your way from the right to the left, and the left to the right, and the right to the left. That's basically it, everybody. And once that's all done, you have to pull your burr off. And if your back is flat, you just put it on the stone flat like this. If by chance it's not perfectly flat and you need to, you use the David Charlesworth ruler technique, and you put that up here, and you just take 1 or 2 swipes like that. Maybe 3 or 4. All right. So once you're done there, now you can do the same thing on your strop. All right. Get a little extra fresh compound. And this is where I like to do the right to left. You start at the top of your strop and you go right to left. left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right, and you just keep repeating that, all right, until your edge is polished. Now, remember, this is a scrub plane blade or a cambered jack plane blade. And once again, you're going to pull any burr or polish the back thusly. And that's it. Now, onto the cambered chip breaker. So, as luck would have it, I did a longer video and it was just too long. As luck would have it, with this particular generic chip breaker with the hump on the back, it was thick enough that I could grind and file away the corners and still have surface at the corners, okay? I didn't have to peen it down. I could have peened it down. So now the real question, will it work? They don't match 100%, but I actually went over the camber with the chip breaker than I needed for this cutting iron. So in the future, you see the cutting edge? There's a little more cutting edge at each corner. If I really wanted to, I could always grind the blade itself down to match the chip breaker. Or I could take a little more off the front of the chip breaker. But I'm showing about a little over a 1/2 millimeter of exposure. I want a little more than that. There we go. That's pretty much more like my normal planing. 32nd of an inch, 1 millimeter. So I can now put this in either my number 4 or my number 5. I'm going to go with the number 4 and see how it works. So you center it in. Everything else, functional and operationally, is the same. Make sure you center everything. That can be a little tighter. And I've got a piece of pine here. And which way is the grain going? Hard to tell. Well, I guess we're going to find out. And I'm going to start with the edge because it is wider than the plane itself. I've wanted to do this for years. Come on. There you are. Look at that, right down the middle. I'm increasing the thickness as I go. Because remember, we wanted to make a scrub plane, not a finishing smoother. All right, so now, Feeling the surface, I don't feel any tear out, none whatsoever. Let's go to the face. One more, bench dog. So this is the heart side. Now we can go across the grain. And I'm increasing the thickness. So far I'm not feeling any tear out. I'm not seeing any clogging. And we are now at a 1/2 millimeter of exposure. Drop the ruler. Right down the middle. And let's see how it does with the grain. That's a thick shaving. So based on the shape of that camber, I'd have to be a muscle man to cut any thicker than that. See, that's lumber. And there is no tear out. So, this is going to get a workout. I'm not sure which plane I'll use. When I get to that big old ugly piece of walnut. So yes, you can have a chip breaker on a scrub plane. It does work. I'm going to have to work a little bit more on that chip breaker. I'm going to have to see if I have any diamond files or make some with sandpaper to really round it and smooth it and get it perfect. Like, subscribe, and share. Head out to your workshop. Go make some shavings. Walter out.